Don't panic. I'm here to talk about Neymar. So thanks for the tweets and Instagrams and all the comments and weird ways of people finding, like, it was an owl that came into TYT's office to tell me to talk about Neymar. It was really interesting. That's Jason making an owl noise on the side.
What was the other owl noise I made?
It was absurd. It was not even close to an owl.
You know what the sound,
it was like, ah!
Do you know what sound the deer makes?
What?
It hisses at you, and then the cow goes moo. So I just feel like I need that.
Really valid points coming from my left.
What clip are we talking about?
We're talking about Neymar. So
what happened with Neymar?
This is my take on the whole matter. Is I really like this theory because I think it does tie into what my initial thoughts were on Neymar. So this is if the transfer does go through, 198 million. I'm not even going to waste my breath. What's the point of even doing the discussion? Is any player worth that? Like, go and take those fingers that you typed that headline with and stuff them into a filled toilet. Because you don't need to be, like, it's just a waste of your time and energy. No one is worth 198 million. That is the price of many starving countries put together. That money can be put to better use. It's disgusting, it's disgraceful, it's making me want to vomit.
On you. I understand why you bring up that argument, but look, I'm sure PSG does a lot of good charity for the people.
I don't care if they spent 198 million on the charities after that. It's just the fact that no one should be valued at that amount of money.
Well, who's going to come out of the charitable organizations that's going to play left attacking mid? Or wing.
Right, but anyway.
It's as good as Neymar is.
The theory that I have for this is a great piece that was run recently by the BBC, and we'll throw up this image. This is the image that they are saying changed Neymar's outlook on his Barcelona career. Messi, after the 6-5 monumental heroic comeback against PSG, in which Neymar scored the first two of those late goals and then assisted in the winner, which Sergio Roberto put in the back of net. The crowd went wild, but who got the plaudits at the end despite Neymar's phenomenal performance? Messi, and I think it's partly due to the fact that this photo is probably one of the, it's like the Superman image, and it's just fantastic.
I know it's a great photo.
Image.
I know it's one of the greatest Champions League comebacks of all time, but the photo of Messi holding up his shirt to the Bernabeu.
That's a great one. What about the photo of Messi holding up his shirt with Jamie Vardy underneath it? Or someone photoshopped Jamie Vardy's face underneath it. It's the best. That was during Jamie Vardy's prime. But it poses the question that Neymar at that moment, after doing everything in his power as Brazil's next greatest star since Ronaldo, that era, just could not, despite his best efforts, get out of the shadow of Lionel Messi. So this is a valid point, right? Because Neymar is a very ego-driven player. I'm not questioning his character. It's gotten to the point where he is, and he's done very well for himself. And I may have undersold him a little bit in our previous clip. Of those players, I still think he's the most replaceable. But that's at the moment. In the future, Barcelona were counting on Neymar. There's no doubt, because look at the grooming process that's consistently been on at Barcelona. Ronaldinho groomed Lionel Messi to the point that he was the player that he is. But Ronaldinho, when he left, he understood that his time at Barcelona was coming to an end. And Messi was firmly proving that, here you go, that torch that you've already been carrying, you can firmly take it. But Neymar probably realizes that Messi's not going to be given that torch up for several years because he's still performing at the top of his game, even though the Ronaldo fanboys will be currently trying to debunk that.
Here's my favorite thing about this Neymar transfer, right?
Is it all along with this point I was going on to make?
No.
Or is it off the cuff?
No, it's not off the cuff. Go on, sorry.
No, I want to know your point.
My favorite thing with the Neymar transfer is that the Champions League, when they start to do their, and I say this seriously, their matchmaking and their draws.
Yes, well, Celtic get drawn against Barcelona every year.
Where they're completely random. It's not going to be in the group stage, but the second they get out of the group stage, if you don't think it's going to be PSG Barcelona, so they have the rematch and Neymar's there, and then, you know, Real Madrid versus, you know, whoever shows up, the Monaco of last year, you know, shows up, Monaco there, it'll be nice. Juve plays Atletico, that's usually right. And oh man, Bayern plays Arsenal. It does. You would think that, like, oh, Neymar's moving to PSG, maybe Arsenal will get PSG, but no. Why would that ever happen?
No, it would never.
Sorry.
It's a very valid point that everyone will want to see it regardless.
That like they have to, unless they put them in a group together and they immediately get it. But
yeah,
because I don't know if it's totally random. It's tough. Like, and you understand, you're a Celtic fan.
Barcelona. At least this time we'll get Barcelona without MSN.
Last year's Champions League draw is the funniest thing because you start doing the math and you're like, they're gonna get Barcelona. I'm like, Francis, come on. It's like there's like 8 groups. There's so many teams. There's so many teams. Like, there's only 2 teams left, Jason.
It's a car crash. I was just watching it. I was like, yep, it's gonna happen.
So, do you think? I have some other questions. I have some rapid fire questions. Okay. I know this is a little unfair, but is Di Maria, Neymar, Cavani have the potential to be better than Suarez, Messi? Take your pick. Coutinho, Dembele, Dybala.
No. It's just Messi. It's like Messi, Neymar, and Suarez. People are forgetting that it was just 2 years ago that they were considered the most dominant trio that we have ever seen in the season that they put together. They pretty much summarized that.
Continuing on, if PSG doesn't win the Champions League this year, are they going to be rightfully criticized for it? Because I had some comments come my way about how Jason stopped saying PSG is going to win the league. Like there's no competition for them to win the league. They didn't win last year. It's like they signed Neymar and Alves. Their starting 11 is Alves, Marquinhos, Silva. We think Kurzawa, Matuidi, Verratti, Draxler, Di Maria, Neymar, and Cavani. If they're healthy, they're going to win again by January, like they did when they had that outrageous 26-point lead by Christmas.
If Monaco does not keep hold of Mbappe and they've already sold a couple of their most talented players, then yeah, I think that's a very considerable point that PSG are favourites with this starting 11 and should be favourites to at least get to the final, which they haven't been able to do. Because this is the thing, Jason, you can add all these players, but there's such a thing as like the mental advantage that you need and the familiarity of being in that position, I think, is still not there with these big money teams such as Manchester City, now just making it into unfamiliar territory in the Champions League, having a manager that's got that experience to get them there. PSG, Unai Emery's a great coach. I'm a huge fan of what he did at Sevilla, of course, and I think adding someone like Neymar should get them to the next stage. Semi-final, at least final, should be definitely in their sights. But you're never going to be able to rule out the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, Bayern Munichs, and Juventus now have definitely installed themselves in that conversation.
We don't know what they did.
Because, yeah, we don't know what's going on with them. But the thing is, it's such a huge advantage for PSG to add Neymar because the guy is a phenomenal talent and he's going to be given the most, like, if everyone's got a set of keys, he's given the most prominent set of keys at PSG. It's going to be his attacking lineup.
It's his attacking lineup. Is it his team?
Well, put it this way. All the players that you would consider to be more of a, let's say, a player that many people would consider to be their team because of leadership qualities. Thiago Silva, it's Brazil. He's a Brazilian teammate, and it's still Neymar's Brazil. Yeah. Dani Alves, Brazilian teammate, it's still Neymar's Brazil. So I do think that he would be given the keys of this team, and I think that it would be a good thing for him. He's 25. He's proven that he can do it at Brazil's on the international level. He's able to handle that pressure and utilize it and channel it in a positive way. But my whole point of this whole thing is, do I think it's the best move for Neymar's career? I don't think so. But I'm not going to judge the guy for doing it. I think that it wouldn't be long before Barcelona would have been his team, but some players just don't have that. They don't want to wait. He probably doesn't want to wait for Messi to move on. Maybe he just wants to write his own passage by going to a team and beating Barcelona or taking that team to the next level. But trust me, Barcelona have been there many a times before. Do I need to remind you of the grooming process again? Because there has been countless players that have played for Barcelona who have been fantastic, but they move on and they have a process to put players in. Is Neymar going to be easily replaceable? Hell no. Of course not.
But is he replaceable?
But is he replaceable? I think there's only 2 players in the world that are not replaceable.
Messi and Ronaldo.
Messi and Ronaldo at this moment. Like, Barcelona were winning without Suarez and Neymar. But they added them and they got better, as other teams added players and got better. So you need to keep up with the trend.
I don't know. I'd make an argument for Manuel Neuer. I would, just because I think you're just going from having the best goalkeeper in the world to any drop-off would seem a little scary.
I'd make an argument for Luka Modric.
All right, fine. I get your point. Messi and Ronaldo are the only 2. Fair enough.
You can make the arguments, but I think that those 2 are the ones that just set themselves, aside from being like phenomenally talented, they're just able to orchestrate the team and galvanize them in a certain way that I think most people don't really look at because they're just so talented. They think of the numbers. But those teams are so confident. Imagine walking out in the park and knowing that you've got Messi or Ronaldo on your squad. You're just immediately taken to that next level of confidence where you think you can win. And Messi's not giving up that throne. So that's why I don't judge Neymar. I think that the way he's been going about it hasn't been the most professional, throwing fits in training, blah, blah, blah. But if he wants to go to PSG, who do I think is going to lose? Do I think that Barcelona are going to suffer and not get back into the Champions League semi-final, finals next year and be competing for La Liga? No, I think they do. Dembélé has been set up to be a replacement. He's nowhere near as talented as Neymar yet. He's a very talented player. But I trust Barcelona more than I'd trust any other team in the world to be able to mature someone into that role. They're not expecting an immediate fit. That's the big thing. They're not expecting, if Real Madrid lost Ronaldo, they would panic. Because Real Madrid, in the past, maybe under Zidane it's a little different, but in the past they like to try and bring in the biggest names to replace the biggest names, and it doesn't always work. Barcelona have tried that sometimes, but more often than not, they like to mature their team a little bit more so, and that's why I give them confidence.
It was like Piqué matured through Barcelona's system.
Like he just was basically, Piqué played at Manchester United. It went to Barcelona, Man U, and back to Barcelona.
Okay.
Carlos Puyol was the perfect example for him to follow along with.
12.
Messi followed along, Ronaldinho, the midfield, Luis Enrique, Guardiola, like Xavi and Iniesta, almost carbon copies of them. All Barcelona players. Wow.
No, not all Barcelona, but they were groomed by Barcelona?
Basically, whether they played in the same time or in the youth team, or they watched them, or they tried to it's a system that works in terms of, it's no surprise that you get players that are very similar to each other that come through the ranks, except from, of course, Messi, because he's a once-in-a-lifetime player. But yeah, they do a phenomenal job, and I think that people, in the American terms, don't be sleeping on Barcelona. They may lose maybe one of the best top 5 best players in the world.
I just think that.
But I think they'll be able to manage.
Zidane is so quietly confident. He's like almost humble in his victory. Zidane hasn't lost the Champions League since he became a manager. I know it's only been 2 years, but just think how many Premier League managers get fired the week after they win. And Zidane's sitting there with trophy after trophy after cup after championship, and I just think they're going man, he hasn't lost yet. And his quote recently about his starting 11 going into the season, I'm paraphrasing, was along the lines of, we're confident, we're still very hungry, we want another Champions League, and we're gonna go out and get it. I'm like, oh my God, I think I believe you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it applies to Zidane's strategy right now. And the only thing that was broke was his relationship with James, and now James is
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Where did he go off to?
Bayern Munich, on loan.
That's a good deal.
Not a bad place for him. So those are my thoughts on it. I want to see what happens. If it happens, it probably has happened as I shot this. There's rumors that Di Maria might be included in a swap alongside this, which would be interesting.
Friend of
Lionel Messi. I mean,
but I like the idea of Argentinian mole inside the locker room for Lionel Messi in PSG.
That could be very interesting, actually. Good idea. And Di Maria, we know, I still think played his best football in La Liga for Real Madrid that last season before they so strangely sold him. He was so good. But
that's like my first week here.
He was phenomenally great. Comment below, what do you think? I'm sure by this point you've been inundated with Neymar, but you can't get enough Neymar because it's 198 million pounds.
They say it was Nay Stay and now it's Nay Week. Nay SG. I don't know.
Do you know what I could do with 198 million?